welcome back to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm your host, Ruth Ann Fink, and today we have a guest with us to talk some more about some Kentucky FFA Works spotlights. So we have Addison Coffey with Pitman Creek Wholesale. Addison, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about these roles and what our senior FFA members should really be looking out for as they're applying for jobs. Looking forward to hearing about that. But first, just tell us about yourself, who you are as a person before we really dive into all that.
Gotcha. So my name's Addison Coffey. I graduated from Boyle County High School in 2015 and then went to the University of Kentucky where I got a degree in finance and accounting. I guess I took some other jobs outside the industry, outside the family business. Found out the grass wasn't always greener and returned back home. So lived in West Virginia and lived in Indiana and then finally moved back to Lexington, Kentucky.
Well, we're glad to have you today and learn more. Addison, you didn't mention this, but you're the vice president of Pitman Creek Wholesale. So,
Yeah,
yep.
we're
So,
we're, we're not big on titles. I mean, not to cut you off, but we're not big on titles. I am the vice president by title, but it's I don't know. We work together. It's a team atmosphere.
yeah, I think that's a great note to point out about company culture. We will talk some more about that too and what that really means. But first, just tell us and tell our listeners about who Pitman Creek Wholesale is, and the scope of the company, really.
Gotcha. So Pitman Creek Wholesale is the industry leader, the fishing industry leader in distribution. So we sell to every major retailer that sells fishing tackle, Dick's, Academy, Bass Pro, Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. And then we sell to roughly 2,000 mom and pops across the country. So we've got many local to us here in the Stanford, Danville area. And that's kind of how the company got its start. Don and Marella Stevens started the company in 1978. Don made lures in his garage or he had a building. And James bought the company, my dad, in 1993. At that time, he didn't really know what it was going to be. He didn't want to be a public accountant anymore, but wanted to get started in something different. So the company is, steadily grown over the last 32-ish years that he's owned the company. I've been back for 5, and it's been a continuing growing operation.
It definitely has grown. I don't know if you know this, we have this in common, Addison, is I also was a graduate of Boyle County High School. And I had several friends that actually worked at Pitman Creek for
Yep.
the FFA, like SAE projects. And they had a great experience, and it has changed so much. Like your locations have changed and how you are fulfilling orders and clients. It has changed a lot just in the time from in the past 10 years. You all
It's
have
grown.
really
It's grown.
exploded.
Yes, it's good. It's grown exponentially, which has been really good. It's what led to me coming back.
Yeah.
I guess we were in Moreland for 10 or so years, or no, we were in Moreland for probably 20 years. Finally outgrew those 2 facilities, moved to Danville to a 40,000 square foot building. I was a senior in high school at the time with no plans of ever coming back to work there, but I was doing it as a summer job, working with some friends, and we put up all the racking and all the fun
Mhm.
stuff that we put our products on. It was a daunting summer. I don't miss it. I don't want to do it again, but we did it. And I remember asking my dad at that point. I was like, how long? At this point, we were in one facility for 20 years. We'd finally moved to this one. How long do you think we'll be here? And I was, oh, we'll be here for a long time. We'll fast forward 18 months later, we'd outgrown that facility. We were renting spaces nearby. And then in October of 2020, we broke ground on the facility we're in today. It's 205,000 square feet. We've got conveyor and all the electronics and technology that you would see at an Amazon or
Mhm.
any store that has a distribution center you would see there. And then we moved in September of 2021. So we've been here for 3.5 years, I guess, at this point, and it's been transformative for us as a company to be able to operate out of a state of the art facility. So it's been really, really good.
Yeah, and with that growth comes the need for a quality workforce, which is kind of why we're here talking about this today. Pitman Creek, this is your all's first year enrolling with Kentucky FFA Works. So for those who are listening that maybe haven't caught on to what this program is, it really is a direct pipeline for our employers in Kentucky to our senior FFA members who are graduating and looking for full-time work. We want to bridge that gap of qualified candidates with companies that we know can offer great positions for these students. So why this year? Why did Pitman Creek say, yeah, sign us up? We want to put jobs on Kentucky FFA Works and work with you all.
We've been growing, I mean, steadily, like I said, for about 32 years. I mean, pretty much year over year growth. There was no big boom. It was kind of just happened, year over year. The big thing for us that we've seen, and I guess, I mean, I'm 28. My goal is to, I jokingly tell everybody that my dad did the first 28 before I came. My goal is to do the next 28. He still works every day, and there's no signs of him slowing down. But um, we've really started to take an approach at trying to surround and build our company with young talent. Most of our management staff right now, I mean, they're all they're phenomenal. They've all played key cogs in what we do, but they're not people that are going to work 30 years from now. They're near, I don't say they're nearing retirement. If any of them listen to this, will yell at me, but they're not going to be here 25 years from now when I'm still here. So trying to find qualified candidates that can get in with our company. The best way that we find, whether it's team leads in our warehouse or department leads or management or upper management, is through internal promotion. I mean, that's the best way. Sitting in the office next to me is our director of key accounts. He started with us as an entry level role. The lady that runs all of our production in the warehouse, so picking and packing, started with us in an entry level warehouse role. And then that story just self perpetuates throughout our company. So finding people that aren't just looking for a job, but maybe they are just looking for a job, but that are open to turning it into a career. And I didn't know what that meant at 18, and I wouldn't expect anyone applying for any of these jobs with us to maybe understand what that is. But when you get in somewhere that has a good culture, has a good team, it's hard to find, and it's something that you want to continue to grow. So, we found it. James has been involved when he was in high school with FFA, and has continued to maintain his involvement throughout his adult life with the farm. So it felt like the perfect opportunity. FFA kids are naturally hardworking. They most of them, not I don't know if most, maybe it's a generalization, but have family farms or something they've worked on growing up. So those values that they gain through that experience is hard to find. So being able to tap into the population of high school seniors in Kentucky that are members of FFA gives us a unique approach to be able to try to grow our workforce.
We love that you all recognize that because we say it all the time. Like, we know our members, we know how great they are. It really is true, though. The FFA members have this unique skill set that is very transferable to the workplace, whether they realize that or not. If they were a farm kid, obviously that's a lot of transferable work ethic and responsibility. But even if they didn't grow up on a farm, but they had a phenomenal SAE project that they kept records on for 4+ years and did public speaking contests. It's just so many unique skills that a lot of people in that generation just are lacking these days. So we are thrilled to have you all as partners. We are hopeful this is a really successful partnership and look forward to kind of hearing some of those success stories in the future. We're going to go ahead and put it out in the universe that there's going to be lots of success stories.
Yep, I
Uh,
agree.
but I want to talk about the company culture. We kind of alluded to this earlier. You spoke on it a little bit just then of just, starting in a company and staying for a long time. There's a lot of value there. You may not realize it at 18, but what do people who have stayed with Pitman Creek for a long time, what are they loving about working there? Tell us about that company culture.
The biggest thing we've been able to do since being back under one roof is really work to cultivate that culture. We were in 4 locations previous to this. It got a little difficult. I mean, I always, give the example of I hire you to work and you're working in warehouse 1 for your first 90 days. Well, then after that, I need you in warehouse 3. Well, you don't know your team leads, you don't know your coworkers. That makes things difficult. But being back under one roof, we've been able to really work to cultivate that company culture. It's a real family atmosphere. I mean, we're family owned and operated. But we have a family atmosphere that goes, from James and myself to our employees, then out to our customers and our vendors that we do business with. We want to pride ourselves on not just a business relationship, but a true personal family relationship. So whether it's through we do quarterly company functions where we'll cater a lunch and we'll give out awards and give out, we'll do drawings for prizes, or whether it's through someone bringing in Burke's Bakery one morning, or whatever it may be. I mean, they're little things that seem little when you go do them, and monetarily they don't. It's not like you're spending a lot of money to do so, but just showing your employees that you care. They're not just a number. I work hard to know our people, know their families, know what they've got going on. We want to work with people. We understand that people are employees, but they're also parents and family members as well. So, kids will get sick, kids will have doctor's appointments, they'll have doctor's appointments, they'll have a game. I mean, whatever, school function, whatever it is, we want to be supportive in all those things to make sure that people know that just because your kid has a school lunch and you need to leave at 11 instead of leaving at 4, we're not going to ding you for that. We're not going to point, like, it's not how we do things. I mean, everybody's an adult here. If your business is taken care of, we're going to take care of you. So that's a huge piece of what we do. And actually, since being in this facility for the last 3.5 years, we've reached a point where our average, I don't want to call it time of service, that sounds like it's military or hard, but our average time of employment on our warehouse staff, which generally has had the highest turnover, is probably close to 2 years now. I've not run the exact numbers on it, but I know it's much higher than a year and probably closer to 2 years. So working in a warehouse environment, people turn over quickly, things change quickly. Being able to retain those people has allowed us to retain our position as number one in our industry.
Yeah, and I hope our students that are listening are paying attention to that part, because company culture may not be something you're really weighing as an 18-year-old looking for a full-time job, but it is so important to know that who you're working with, they know you, they know your family, they know what your drive time is. It's just an important part that makes going to work so much more enjoyable. So I hope our seniors are really perking their ears up when they're hearing about this company culture. But let's talk about the 3 roles that are posted on Kentucky FFA Works. Our students can apply to those up until April 15th. The first one is a sales associate. So just give us the rundown. What is a sales associate? What can they expect to do? If you were a senior looking to apply, like, what would you want to know about this, Addison?
So our sales associate role is one that offers a lot of upward mobility within that position. Most of the entry-level sales associates we hire will initially begin assisting our sales team in the management of their accounts. So that'll be, whether that's, we still have customers. Most of the people listening or students applying do not know what a fax machine is, but we have many customers that still fax in their orders. We've got certain customers throughout the country that mail in their orders. All those have to be keyed into our system so that we can process them. So the initial, onset of that position is assisting our sales team, learning the roles, learning the technology we use to complete the job, making sure that they're fully trained before we turn them over to what we refer to as a territory. So our territories they're not single state specific, but they're regionally specific. So once we felt like that person is fully trained, and once they told us they were fully trained, they would move into having their own territory, having their own set of customers. And with that comes the responsibility of processing those customer orders from a technology standpoint. I don't need them to go pick and pack them. We have employees for that, but taking care of that customer, make sure you fulfill their needs, making sure you're using the data that we have properly to get them in those right selling products, and just taking care of whatever it is. I mean, we've all been customers, we all are customers. They've got many requests, and it's just to fulfill those, give them the same family atmosphere that we try to instill in our employees. You're instilling that in them, and then as that grows, the gentleman I spoke about, who's our director of key accounts, Matthew Mattingly, he started as a sales associate. He's now in charge of Dick's Academy, Bass Pro, Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. So there's upward mobility in that role. Over time, it's not going to happen in 90 days, but over time to start assisting Matthew and myself on that team, and growing into dealing with national accounts. It's a different type of sales, but when I walk into the Stanford or Danville Walmart, and I can tell you what products we sell them. It's cool to be able to go into that type of store, a mass merchant that has 4,000 stores, and say, well, that came from a warehouse in Stanford, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So there's upward mobility in that role to be able to help manage those accounts and work onto that team as well.
A candidate who would be really successful in this role, what are some qualifications, skills that you see them having?
I think a willingness to work is as big as anything.
Okay.
There's nothing that makes if you've used a computer before, I don't need you to be an expert at anything. Just willing to work, willing to come to work every day, learn the tasks. 99% of what we do can be learned on the job. If you have good soft skills on the onset, that's a plus.
Yeah.
But I don't think it doesn't take anything special. Not saying that our people don't do special things, but I think you can learn just as much on this job as you could try to bring it into it, if that makes sense.
That's great. If you're listening and that sounds exciting to you and you have willingness to learn, I
Yeah,
think
if you like to fish, I mean, I've got six independent sales reps. I've got six independent sales reps right now, and then Matthew and myself, and they get paid every day to talk to people and talk about fishing stuff. So if you enjoy fishing, you enjoy the outdoors. It's a great it's a great opportunity to come in and talk about something you enjoy, you're passionate about, and
yeah.
you talk to people from all over. I mean, that's the
Not
thing.
everyone can say that about their job, that they can take like this hobby or sport that they love and really do it, make it a career. So that's great.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, let's talk about the warehouse associate position you all also have posted. Give us
Yep.
the rundown of that. What does a day-to-day look like? Someone in that role, who would be a great candidate for someone in this role, and anything else a senior may need to know.
So we've got six-ish departments in our warehouse currently. So they all kind of, I guess, do different things. We've got picking, we've got packing, we have receiving, we have put away, we have what we call our special ops team. So that's a group of individuals that are cross-trained, so they're able to kind of assist in any department. Um, and with that role, same thing as our management team and as our sales team, always looking for people that are, I guess, just people that are willing to work. It's the same thing. I mean, nothing we do, I tell everybody, it's not rocket science. It's not patent pending. You're not going to find anything too difficult in our building. But, in any of those departments, it takes a form of leadership to continue to get those to operate every day and operate at a high level. We didn't we didn't become the best in our industry by being average. I mean, I've got teams of people out there that are doing everything it takes to get the job done every day. So I think with those warehouse positions, it definitely offers a level of upward mobility, whether that's a department lead or a team lead within the warehouse. You're going to be on your feet. It's pretty much all walking, and there's not much sitting down. But we use an iPad to do everything in our warehouse, so um, I feel bad that I don't have any like, oh, they need to have this, but it's just a willing to work. If you're willing to show
Yeah.
up every day, willing to take care of your
Good
job,
level.
willing to complete your job at a high level, you can succeed at 99.9% of what we do every day.
We recently, I don't know if you were on site or not, but we brought the Kentucky FFA state officer team by for some industry tours, and we got to see the facility. And those warehouse associates, they were rocking and rolling. I mean, they had like their whole system down and their cart,
Yeah,
and
it's
you know, and
it's second nature for most of them. They've got their iPad, their cart, and I mean, they come in and so
they were
our
very proud of their step counts. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's cool. I mean, they compete within their job in terms of whether that's pieces put away or pieces received or picked or packed. But they also compete in how many steps they take. So yeah, no, I mean those are cool things that it seems minute and little, but those are things that when you can have a positive, competitive working environment, it helps grow the culture. I mean, our people are talking to
make
each
anything
other.
enjoyable.
What?
You can make anything enjoyable, really. Like someone who enjoys a routine and systems, like they would be great, I would imagine, at a role.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Well, the last position you all have on our website is called the Data Analyst Intern. This one's a little bit different, so just speak to what this role might look like and what our seniors should know about it.
So this one's a little unique. It's not something we've ever done before. We've got a couple people internally who manage most of our data. Data is incredibly key to us. We're not just calling and trying to sell you car insurance or sell you, anything like that. I mean, we're selling a product that people are going to use to sell, to pay their light bill, put their kids through school, pay for groceries, et cetera, et cetera. But with that position, there would be some level of Excel needed on the front end. You don't have to be an expert. I mean, we can teach you how to use it to complete the task, but we're looking to find someone who can continue to help grow the ways we use data.
Okay.
There's a lot of reports we run, a lot of reports we run today. We recently integrated a new data analysis software that we're using that allows us to more quickly pull all our data and run our reports. But just being able to help provide the best information to our team. So it'd be a position with a lot of learning, and then as it grew, there'd be growth after that. But yeah, it's a position that's incredibly key to what we do. We can, using the data we have, we can dial in on a specific state and specific zip codes and tell you what the top selling items are in that state by month, by week, by
Wow.
day. So just continuing trying to grow that. So anybody that's got data analysis, you don't even have to have. I mean, you guys a little bit of experience is great, but if you've used Excel, you like numbers, that'd be a good spot for someone like that.
Yeah, it sounds like I think of like my brother, honestly, in positions like he's like the analytical one and loves breaking things down by numbers and making it make sense. So almost sounds like someone like that. You're either like that or you're not. I think.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
No.
that's much more specific and much more
Yeah.
I don't want to say singularly focused, but that one targets a smaller audience, which we get.
Mhm.
But if there's kids out there that like data, think like that, and are analytical, it'd be a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to start too. Like it's a brand new thing, and you could really make it what you wanted it to be. It sounds like with your company. Well, I hope our students have learned a lot about these three roles. Before we jump into just like talking about you and those three questions we always ask our guests, from your perspective, as our students are maybe updating their resumes or they're typing their cover letters, what advice do you have for them as they're preparing their applications? Are you looking for certain things on their resume? Are certain experiences in life more valuable to you all as an employer rather than others? What advice would you give these students as they're prepping to apply?
Biggest thing I would focus on would be the details, making sure that things are punctually correct, making sure that things are spelled correctly, capitalizations are in the right spot. That level of attention to detail, I think, as an employer, is easy to weed out people that put effort into their application, put effort into their resume. Always lean on those close to you that to review those, to look those over. That's the easiest thing for me. If I get an application with a lot of misspellings and no capitalization or punctuation or those type things, it's easy for me to. I don't want to say I weed that one out immediately, but if I have a bunch of applications, those are the ones that get moved to the bottom of that stack, and I'll look at those later. That's the biggest thing for me. I don't know. I mean, it's you never know who you're going to talk to that leads to a future opportunity, I guess, which is key. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me from an application standpoint. I'm not big on canned interview questions. I'm not big. I want to get to know the person. Who
Yeah.
are you as a person? Are you someone I want to work with every day? And that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Okay. Well, students, hope you're listening. Fine tooth comb through that application. Make sure you're capitalizing things. It is important when I'm pulling, like when that application deadline closes and I'm pulling all these reports to send you all. Some students won't capitalize their own name, and I'm like, guys, capitalize your name. Like that
It's
stuff.
it's,
I
it's
notice.
very it's very simple things that stand
Mhm.
like I mean, it's very simple things that stand out to employers. To stand out quickly. I mean, you're always trying to do things to stand out. Well, there are good things that can make you stand out, and there are bad things that can make you stand out.
Definitely. Well, this will be my plug. If people are listening, they're like, I do want to apply. Like, that sounds like a great job for me. You have until April 15th. That application is live on kyffaworks.com. So check it out. You also can look at all the information we've talked about today about these 3 roles on the website as well. But like I said, we always end with asking our guest Addison the same 3 questions. You are no exception to that. We want to hear from you as well. We talk a lot about leadership on this podcast and philanthropy. So we'll kind of ask some things around there. But to start us off, just what keeps you motivated as a leader?
I think just the people that are employed here keeps me motivated. When I come to work every day at this point in my career, it's not just me who's depending on me. We've got about 150 employees currently, so there's 149 other people that are dependent on, the decisions that James and I make at the top to keep the lights on here, to keep people employed, keep people coming back to work every day. Thinking about the people that are affected by the decisions you make keeps me rolling every day.
Oh, that's great. And makes sense to what you said about the company culture there. That really is true. Well, the Kentucky FFA Foundation, we are the hosts really of this podcast. And at our core, we're a nonprofit and we're just opening up opportunities for Kentucky FFA members, which is all about philanthropy. So we just like to ask our guests, what's the most meaningful way that you've gotten to engage in philanthropy in your life? That could be through your time, your talent, or your treasure.
Probably would be, I don't know if they're technically philanthropies, but the Operation Angel Kid Tree, I think is what
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
called.
Mhm.
That's just, as and you don't really know who you're giving that to on the other side, but as someone who, you know, feels like I've been given a lot in life, it always feels good to give back. People who, maybe don't know where that next Christmas present's coming from or that next meal, being able to provide them with something that they've asked for, that maybe they've never received in their life, is a very rewarding way to give back.
Yeah, that is a really special program. And you don't, like you said, you don't know where it's going, but it's making a difference. And
Yeah,
uh,
it's making an
that
impact, and
community is
it's
special.
huge.
Yeah. Well, this next question is a little bit off the wall after our very serious one, but it's just what is something you cannot stop talking about right now? It can be serious, silly, anything that you just can't stop talking about.
Something I can't stop talking about. Well, it'd be really corny to be like, "Oh, Pitman Creek," and I need all my, why it's so great to work here. But I've bored everybody with that enough. I can't stop talking about how Kentucky men's basketball needs to get healthy and go on a run in March. My sanity needs it. I need it like I need air. I could really use a couple good wins in March to send us off to the rest of the summer and spring.
Yeah, we do need that. I agree with you. I'm also a UK fan, so I see your background there. Uh,
Yes,
that's awesome. Yeah, March Madness. We
it's
need you.
here and it's not been very friendly very recently, so I could use a nice one here.
You're right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation about Pitman Creek and the jobs you all have. We're just so excited for this partnership and hope to have a lot of great FFA members coming to work for you soon.
No, we're looking forward to it. We're grateful to be a part of it, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders.
Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.